What's going on, guys? Welcome to my second Java Basics tutorial. We're going to talk about getting user input today, which is a very important fundamental of text-based programming. The first thing you must do whenever you are writing a program with user input is to import the scanner class, which can be done by writing import java.util.scanner, and that is outside of the class and outside of the main method whenever you're making a program. After you've imported the scanner class, you still can't get user input until you can complete one more step, which is making a scanner object. And basically when you make a scanner object, you're going to want to type inside the main method scanner scan equals new scanner system.in. Now, the one thing I want to point out about this scanner object is that it can be named anything you want it to be. And what I mean by that is this word scan right here, it can be any word you want it to be. It could be rice, it could be scanner, it could be tree, it could be anything. And I just prefer to use scan because it makes the code easier to read. So now, once we have our scanner object, we can actually get some user input. So in the last video, we talked about integers, doubles, and strings. And in this video, we're actually going to have the user enter an integer, a double, or a string. And the first thing we're going to do, we're going to start out with integers because they're very, very simple. The first thing we're going to do is ask the user for some input. So we're going to want to type system.out.println, and we can say enter an integer. And when we get user input, what we want to do is anything that we're getting, in this case we're getting an integer, we want to list what we're getting, which is an integer, and then we want to name that integer, which could be num. And then whenever you do this, you want to say equals, and then the name of your scanner object, and mine in this case is scan. The name of your scanner object, dot next, and this is an integer, so we're going to say dot next int. And now the user would have been asked to enter an integer, and then the user would enter an integer, but nothing else would happen after this because we have nothing typed after this. So if we want to go ahead and print out what the user entered, we can say system.out.println, we can say user entered, and this is a little bit more advanced, but basically if we want to print out in the console what the user entered, we would do that by writing whatever we want in the system.out.println in the println statement, and then outside of the parentheses we're going to do a plus, and then we're going to do a num, which is the name of the object, or the variable that the person entered. So now if we go ahead and run that, it says enter an integer, so I'll enter a 45, and it says user entered a 45. So that is basically the fundamental property for integers. And I'm not going to do the same thing for doubles because it's practically the same thing, they just use decimals. So we're going to use strings now. Okay, so we can change this to enter your name, actually. And the difference between strings and integers is obviously you're going to want to type string here, and you don't really want to name this num because it's not a number, so we can say name. And then when you scan in a string, the difference between scanning in a string and scanning in a number or an integer or a double is the scan.next stays the same, but when you scan in a string, you're going to want to say scan.nextLine. And basically what scan.nextLine does is it scans in a word. And if you were just typing in a letter like A, B, or D, or F, then you would just use scan.next. But because we're typing in your name, obviously your name probably has more than one letter in it, so we want to say scan.nextLine, which is going to run through your entire name and scan in every letter inside of it. So if we want to print out your name, we could say, instead of saying user entered, we could say hello and then name. And basically it should, if I enter Christian, it should say hello Christian. So let's see if it works. So we come out here and it says enter your name. So I'll enter Christian and it says hello Christian. So that is basically the fundamentals for the scanner object, using it, getting user input. It's a very, very, very important part of text-based programming in Java, especially if you're a beginner. This is going to be in a lot of beginner programs that you write. You're going to have to get user input. So I hope you guys took something out of this video today. I hope you guys better understand getting user input now. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.